Now, this storm is bringing intense winter weather to all different parts of the country and includes some communities across the South that don't usually experience conditions anything close to this. We're joined now by someone who leads one of those communities, Mayor Pat McCabe out of Hot Springs, Arkansas. It's about an hour southwest of Little Rock. Mayor McCabe, we appreciate you joining us ahead of what may be a very busy weekend for you and your constituents. Just give us an update on how bad the storm is expected to be where you are. I know that some of this ice and sleet might be in the forecast.
Yeah, it's been, excuse me, it's been ever changing. You know, the forecast continued to be modified as better and newer information comes forward. We were expecting maybe 20 to 30 inches of snow, then down to just a few inches of snow, and now we're looking at ice. And there's a whole other deal here. We're at the foothills of the Ouachita Mountains. We're very hilly here, and ice will be a real problem, not only for residents moving about, but also for our utility companies restoring power. So we're hoping for the best. We've been through this before. People are well prepared. We're going into a weekend, so people will be hunkered down at their homes, and then hopefully we get some warmer temperatures and start thawing out and getting things moving again.
So it will be an intense number of days for people where you are, considering you've got all those hills and there's ice in the forecast. How are you best preparing to address some of the emergencies, and what are you communicating to people there now?
Well, certainly the hospitals and ambulance services are primary. The hospitals will be for utility services. The Entergy will be really focused on making sure they have power. Ambulance services will be their units will be stationed throughout the city. We are pre-treating our road system, so hopefully that will help keep the ice accumulation down. Normally it works better with snow, but when we get freezing rain, that's a whole nother deal here. So ice is a really problematic. We'll deal with a little bit of snow. We've had major snow events, then it warms up, and then it gets cold again, and so the melting snow turns to ice, and we still end up with ice even if we had snow. So
yeah, well,
so it's something we've dealt with in the past. So.
It sounds like you've got your eyes and your emergency services in the right places as this moves in. We're wishing you and the community there all the best and hope folks just stay inside and have a cozy weekend. Mayor Pat McCabe, thanks for connecting with us from Arkansas.
Thank you.
Valdez, where there's a state of emergency there in Tennessee. Okay, you saw the salt trucks out there. That is something that's very much in need in Piscataway, New Jersey, where we talked to Mayor Brian Wahler. Mayor, I'm the son of a former mayor. I know what it's like when situations like this hit, when the weather is piling up. You've got tens of thousands of people who depend on your leadership, really minute by minute during this storm. We understand you have a bit of a problem where salt is concerned to try to keep those roads less slick out there. How are you managing?
Well, Reed, it's just not Piscataway Township. It's several communities within the tri-state New York City region. There is material available at the port because that's where it's stored. It's just the logistics of getting it out to the communities. And in the state of New Jersey, there's a pecking order on who gets what material. And in our case in New Jersey, it's the state government that receives the state DOTs, and then the counties, and then the cities and the towns. And that's the big problem right now. We haven't received a delivery of road salt in almost 3.5 weeks. And our bins are large, 4,500 capacity salt domes only have 500 tons left, which is next to nothing. We need at least 2,500 for the storms. So for the viewership, that equates to about 70 tandem truckloads to be dumped off.
You talk about the pecking order.
Which is a lot.
Yeah, it is a lot. You talk about the pecking order there. I would imagine then that you are fighting to be higher in the pecking order to get the salt because it can save lives.
Well, as we speak, we've sent a fleet of some of our DPW trucks up to the port. And being from Jersey, we're going to push our way into the situation to get some road salt. I feel like I'm a supply sergeant in the Army scrounging for road salt.
Right.
I've never seen this in the 25 years that I've been mayor.
How is this storm different? You know, you've been talking about how you haven't had a delivery for 3.5 weeks. Certainly, we've known that a big storm was coming because of our forecasters. As you're seeing this develop, as you've seen it develop, how is it different from what your vantage point
Well,
is?
we had two nuisance storms over Martin Luther King weekend, which we used up about 1,500 tons. But given the fact the amount of snowfall that's projected from the meteorologists, we are going to need a lot more salt. And for the general public viewing, as you saw before, salt doesn't work below 20 degrees. So you have to do a combination of liquid calcium chloride
Right.
when the salt spreaders are going to get that out there. And that's why we need to have our material down on the road after we plow curb to curb, because otherwise, with the deep freeze coming after the snow event, we may have an ice skating rink around the towns if we don't have any material to try to get it down to the blacktop.
Which could really affect the what? I've done some research. There's about 60,000 people there in Piscataway or more.
Yeah,
that could affect
we're
them
the
for
home
weeks.
of Rutgers. Yeah, we're the home of Rutgers University, and by the way, we're the home of the first 4th of July celebration. That's something else. But we are a feeder town in central New Jersey. We're about 35 miles south of New York City, and our town, with everybody traversing our community, ultimately ends up in the New York region and/or the southern going towards Philadelphia. So we're a critical hub here in this area of the state. So that's why our large feeder roads feed into the state highway system.
Well, we know the people of Piscataway are definitely worth their salt. We hope that you get what you need and then some. Stay safe, Mayor. I know it's going to be a very long, busy weekend for you. And we'll visit Piscataway when we get to July 4th. We will seek for that day sooner than later. Thank you, Mayor Brian Wahler.
Back to our top story. Tennessee is one of more than a dozen states now under a state of emergency ahead of what is expected to be a major winter storm. The state has been preparing for days, mostly concerned about icy conditions that could make roads dangerous and cause power lines to go down. Some cities, including Memphis, are warning residents that some may lose power over the weekend. Memphis Mayor Paul Young joins me now. Mayor, thanks for being here. What has your city been doing to prepare?
Our teams have been working very hard over the last few days to make sure that we are getting things in order. We've been working with our utility partners. We have our public works team have put out over 25,000 gallons of brine on the streets, over 330 miles covered of roadway. And so our crews have been getting ready. The challenge for us is understanding what we're prepping for, because we are in an area where it could be ice and sleet, or it could be snow. We're hoping for snow because we know if we have snow, then our plows can handle it. The ice is a little bit more challenging for us.
So knowing that you don't exactly know what you're going to get, I mean, is it sort of reminiscent of that 1994 storm? It was an ice storm. It caused a lot of damage. Are you guys recalling that right now?
Absolutely. It's very reminiscent of that. There are many people in Memphis that remember it, myself included. And, you know, it does a lot of damage to our infrastructure. All of our overhead utility wires are at risk with the limbs falling. I see on the screen now, you have the images, and it was a very devastating time. And so we're hopeful that we don't get that level of ice here, but our teams are ready. If we do, we typically have about 30 utility crews here. We've brought in another 50 from other parts of the country that'll be here to support our local utility. And so our teams are as ready as we can.
What's your advice for people?
My major advice is for people to stay home. If you do not have to be out and on the roads, please do not go out. We know that there are a number of people that work in essential services, and so we do have a roadway clearing plan. We've worked with FedEx, which is based here in Memphis, and came up with a strategy that allows us to get the main corridors cleared. But my advice to those that don't have to be out is please don't go out, because we want to make sure that we maintain safety for as many people as possible.
All right, Mayor Paul Young, thank you and stay safe.
Thank you.